Hello friends and welcome to my first video, Nepo versus Magnus. As you all know that Nepo won the candidates tournament and now is going to clash with Magnus Carlsen in the World Championship matches. And Magnus have faced Nepo in some before tournaments and he have won 6 matches, lost 1 and drew 11 matches. So let us see one of their best games. And here Nepo is white and Carlsen is black. So let's begin the match. Nepo goes with e4, Magnus e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and Nepo chooses d4, which is the Scotch game. E into d4, knight into d4, bishop to c5, and here many players play knight to b3 and many play knight to c6, knight into c6. So here Nepo goes with knight into c6 and then queen to f6. As you can see that queen into f2 is a mate over here, and together queen is attacking the knight on c6. So he can't move the knight, and if he moves to d4 to stop this, but bishop into d4 loses a piece. And in previous match, Nepo had played queen to f3, and he lost this match, and the line continued like this. So. But this time Nepo have prepared another line which was f4, stopping the queen to control over this to the f2 square. So d into c6, knight to c3, queen to h4 check, g3, queen to e7, and here there are two lines. Here queen to f3 is also a good move. Knight to f6, here it pressures the pawn on the g4 square. If bishop comes to g4, then it will get then white will lose a tempo and need to move the queen, which is not good. So f5, stopping this threat. Then short castle and the line continues like this. So let's continue with the main line. Queen to e7, then here Nepo played bishop to d3, and Magnus goes with knight to f6 and knight to f6 with an idea of just pressuring on this pawn. So Nepo played some move like the queen to e2 for protection, and then some bishop to d2 and idea of short long castle. Then bishop to g4. As I said before that f5 was there, so bishop couldn't come over here. But here we didn't play f5, so bishop to g4 with tempo, queen to g2, again supporting here, short castle, and here if Magnus could have go with short castling, then h3 and g4 would come and rapidly the attack would start. So he didn't took any risk and continued with long castle. Then bishop to d2 with an idea of long castling. Then knight to d5. As the pawn is pinned, he can't take the knight. So he plays h3 to remove this bishop. So Nepo could do long castling over here and then threaten this knight. So here Magnus could play knight into c3, h into g4, knight into e4, bishop into e4, rook to d4, then long castling, rook into d4. Here Magnus is very good in this position. As you can see, this rook and this queen, and then next move over here, and you can see all these 4 pieces will be just dangerous for white. Let's continue with the main line. h3, bishop to e6, and then a3, knight, bishop to d4, again pressuring on knight. So Nepo takes knight into d5, pawn into d5, and long castling. Bishop takes, and you can see this queen and this bishop are just dangerous for black's king. But Magnus says, I'm not scared of this because I can limit your bishop's moves by playing c6. Then Nepo says, it doesn't matter, as you know that I'll continue my development. Then here queen to c7, as the rook was pinning the bishop, and then so it went to and remove the pin, went to c6. Then f5, bishop to d5, and then bishop to f4, and that threatening the queen. So here Magnus could have played bishop into e4, queen into e4, queen to a5, but this is not such good position. That's why Magnus have rejected this variation. So he played queen to b6, then c3. Nepo just weakens his white squared bishop, white squares, but Magnus exchanged the white square bishops, and then bishop to f6, and now you can see these four pieces are just very active and very good in this position. So queen to c4, Nepo just attacks the pawn on f7 and stopping the queen to come on b3. So Magnus plays rook into d1, rook into, and then rook to f8, protecting the pawn. So a4, h6, king b1, queen to a5, and then g4. As black is having a dark squared bishop, Nepo have kept all his pawn in white squares so that he couldn't touch his pawn. So Magnus asks for a bishop trade, but Nepo says, I don't want this because for that I have worked so hard to make my pawns to come on white squares. So bishop to e3, a6, and bishop to c5, attacking the rook and threatening this pawn over here. So rook to d8, rook into d8, queen into d8, queen into f7. So Magnus tells you are just to temporarily pawn up. So I can play queen to d1 check, king a2, and queen to a4 check. And now we have equal positions, so let us draw. But Magnus, so he could draw over here like this, but Nepo says no, I don't want to do a draw like this, I'll do it on my own. So he plays bishop to a3, bishop to f6, and then queen to e6 check, king to d8, b8 sorry, then queen to d6 check, king to c8, queen to e6, king b8, and like that perfect